John Wick Chapter 2 is the much anticipated sequel to the highly acclaimed 2014 movie John Wick. And everyone I know who saw the first John Wick was just absurdly excited for this movie. Me, however, I was certainly excited for this movie, but not as excited as those who saw the first John Wick. And the reasoning behind that is simple. I had never seen the first John Wick up until a couple hours before I went to see John Wick Chapter 2. I remember John Wick came out, I believe my junior year of college. One of my best friends, my roommate at the time, we had full intentions on seeing John Wick in theaters. But for whatever reason, it wasn't playing at the movie theater that we go to, so I couldn't see it when it was in theaters, and then by the time it came out on Blu-ray, it just fell under my radar. However, once I found out that a sequel to John Wick was being made, I knew that I absolutely had to see the first John Wick before I saw that. So I went out, I got it on Blu-ray, and then I ended up watching it the day I was going to see the sequel. And yeah, talking about the first John Wick for a minute, that movie is really fucking awesome. Keanu Reeves is an absolute badass. The action scenes are entertaining as hell. The movie has a surprisingly really good and really personal story. And all in all, it's just everything that a fun action movie should be, and so much more. So yeah, I loved that. I was going into John Wick Chapter 2 excited as all hell, and now that I've seen it, I can give you my thoughts on it. So right out the gate, I just love the way John Wick Chapter 2 opens up. He still has to get his car back from the guys who robbed him in the first John Wick, so he goes to the mob's car garage to get it back. And again, I just love seeing the fear that goes through all of these guys when they simply hear the name John Wick. The Russian leader, he tells one of his accomplices that a guy's coming to get a car back that they stole, and the guy's like, okay, whatever. Whose car did they steal? And he goes, John Wick. And the look on the guy's face is just all like, oh. Fuck. They didn't call John Wick the boogeyman for nothing, and he just storms into this garage, is just killing everyone. He gets his car back, but it's also in this moment he offers peace with the Russian mob, saying, hey, I don't want to do this forever. I've been retired. I came out of retirement just to solely seek revenge on the guys who fucked with me. I have no quarrels with you. Let's just have peace going forward. I will now leave. The rest of you are off the hook. And that is something that I like seeing. John Wick knew he didn't want to be a hitman forever. He knew he wanted to retire, and he doesn't want to get back into it even though he's gotten back into it. He wants to go back to his quiet life, which includes living in his really nice house and raising the pit bull that he saved at the end of the last movie, which still doesn't have a name. Who cares? He's John Wick. If he doesn't want to name a dog, he doesn't have to name a dog. Unfortunately, it appears John Wick still has some unfinished business with some people. This includes Italian crime lord Santino, because apparently when John Wick completed the impossible task that allowed him to retire, Santino was someone who really helped him accomplish it. And as a result of it, Santino had John Wick swear a blood oath to him that if he helps him out with this, John Wick helps him out in the future. John Wick, of course, tries to respectfully refuse, says he's retired, and then Santino responds by blowing up his house with a grenade launcher. I'm just very thankful they didn't kill his dog again. That would have been pretty hard to watch a second time. And right here, this was something that I found to be both a positive and a negative for John Wick Chapter 2. I say a positive because it expands more on the world of John Wick. You know, it touches on the fact that the hotel that he stayed at in the first movie, that is a sacred ground. No business is conducted on there. Everyone is safe there. But they also touch on how if you swear a blood oath as a hitman, you have to go along with it, or you'll also suffer the same punishment as breaking the sacred grounds of the hotel. So as a result, John Wick agrees with the request that Santino gave him, which is to kill Santino's sister so he can take her place on this high council. But at the same time, it also dragged the movie down, and this is why. In the first movie, John Wick came out of retirement because a couple shitbags broke into his house and killed his dog, who wasn't just his dog, that was the last connection he had to his dead wife. As a result, John Wick's reason for coming out of retirement and becoming a hitman again was very personal. It was a very revenge-based reason, and of course, you're rooting as hell for him. And yeah, in this movie, of course, you're still rooting for John Wick, but at the same time, it doesn't feel personal. It's just something that he's forced to do. It's something he's obligated to do. So As a result, it's a little harder to get behind him. So faced with no choice, John Wick has to honor the blood oath. He goes to Rome, he infiltrates Rome, where he's able to meet Gianna, Santino's sister, who he has to kill. But here Gianna is smart enough to know that she doesn't stand a chance against John Wick. He's going to kill her no matter what, so she decides to go out on her own terms and just slits her arms and kills herself. So yeah, Gianna is dead. John Wick has technically fulfilled his promise to Santino, but not only does he find Gianna's men coming after him because they believed he killed her, but Santino has his men coming after John Wick to kill him to tie up loose ends. Which has me sitting there like, oh, bad news for you guys. Yeah, does John Wick kill them? Abso-fucking-lutely he does, and it's awesome. Seriously, the action scenes in this movie just harken back to what we loved about the first John Wick. They're just bloody, they're awesome, they're entertaining, and it just shows how John Wick is just the greatest hitman that ever lived. Seriously, guys are coming after him, they're shooting at him, they're trying to kill him. Here's what John Wick does. Boom, headshot, kneecap, headshot. The only time John Wick misses is if he shoots a guy in the chest and then shoots him in the head. It's just fantastic. He just apparently has the headshot cheat code programmed into his brain somewhere. So now at this point, John Wick has come back to New York City, but Gianna's bodyguard, he's still after John Wick. They get into an all-out brawl, which leads to the subway. John Wick is actually able to beat him. But what I did love about this fight is, once again, it shows that although John Wick is an amazing hitman, it does show that he is still a little bit vulnerable because he has been retired for a very long time. So as a result, when this guy is just in an all-out brawl with him and it feels like he may have the upper hand against John Wick, you buy it and you fear for him. A badass action hero that's still vulnerable. That's how it needs to be done. So at this point, John Wick knows that Santino's men are coming after him, especially now that he's placed a $7 million bounty on him. So it's here where John Wick decides to meet with Lawrence Fishburne, who's an underground crime lord who helps him track down where Santino is hiding. Really was great to see Lawrence Fishburne and Keanu Reeves in a movie together again. Just harkens back to the good old Matrix days. So it's at this point John Wick is able to track Santino down to the hotel, which is a problem though because once again the hotel is sacred grounds. Business cannot be conducted on there. Mobsters can't kill one another there. That is sacred. You can't do that or you're gonna die. However, John Wick says fuck that shit and he shoots Santino in the head, which finally calls off the chase after him. Surprisingly though, John Wick is allowed to leave the hotel by the head of the council. You know, he's not killed, he's not murdered for what he did. Back in New York City though, this head of the high council, he then meets with John Wick and he tells him that the bounty on him has now been doubled and everyone in the world knows about it. And also because of what he did, John Wick now is denied anything that he could have had, you know, from being a part of this, you know, Hitman Alliance. You know, he can't use the hotel for sacred grounds. He has no access to the weapons that he can gain. In other words, John Wick is now all on his own against the world. But what I love is he still tells the head of the High Council to tell anyone who comes after him, I'm going to kill them. I'm going to kill them all. It's just like, yep, not the most well-written lines ever, but you know what? Keanu said it, so it's cool. So with that, John Wick is now world enemy number 1, and he and his dog just start making their run away from pretty much anyone who could be after him. So all in all, John Wick Chapter 2 was a really fun action movie like we were all hoping it would be. Keanu Reeves is just fantastic as John Wick. This role, it really has just become a resurgence for his career. The action scenes are awesome. It has a solid antagonist. I loved seeing them expand more on the world that exists in John Wick. My only real flaw is, again, the mission that John Wick is on. It's not really that personal. It's something he's just more obligated and forced into doing. It also didn't really have the surprise factor that the first John Wick had. You know, none of us really knew what to expect from the first John Wick, which just blew all of our minds when we saw it. And then John Wick Chapter 2, once we had seen the first John Wick, we knew what to expect, so it kind of lacked the surprise element, if you will. So as a result, I don't think John Wick Chapter 2 is as good as John Wick, but it's still a great movie. I had a lot of fun with it, and I really do hope they make more John Wick movies because I really want to see where else everything goes. Now before I end this video, I gotta let you guys know something. once again, I'm gonna be changing location. Long story short, my dad, my stepmom, and I, we're moving into a new house. We're in the process right now of just packing everything. Seriously though, my room is completely empty right now. It's pretty bad. So the next video you see of mine will be in a brand new location, and hopefully that's where I will be for the foreseeable future. At least it will be until I make enough money that I can live on my own. Until then, I'm just a loser who lives in their parents' basement. The American dream. So for now, that's all I gotta say. Guys, thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.